Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Aaron Trevino here, and we have another wonderful guest from beautiful Austin, Texas. We have Cindy. How you doing, Cindy?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we connected a while back, so it's great to see you, and I'm excited for our chat today.
I am excited too. So please ask all the questions. I'm happy to share whatever I have regarding Tulum real estate with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Cindy, so for those of us who aren't too familiar with you, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, for sure. My name is Cindy, as you guys heard already. I was born and raised in the Yucatan Peninsula. If you guys don't know where that is, it's Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, all that area. And I came to the US to finish my college education in California specifically. And after graduation, I had the opportunity to do an internship here in Texas. So I ended up staying here for a handful of years and became in love with Texas in so many different ways. My primary residence is here in Austin, particularly. I started my career in real estate in 2015. And it's been a journey. A couple of years from now, I started bringing more clients to my roots, right? The Yucatan. So Cancun, Playa, Tulum, and I carved myself a niche, bringing investors from Texas to that area.
Okay, no, that's it sounds like it's been quite a journey for you, right?
Yes, it has been definitely an interesting journey. I have learned a lot, of course, through the years of doing this, but it has been great. And I was able to create my own legal team to back up every sale. And we have a real estate firm servicing mostly American investors.
Okay, understood. And I'm curious, because you said that you're from the Yucatan Peninsula. Maybe when you were growing up, did you have any idea you wanted to work in real estate, or how did you kind of get into the industry?
No. I had no idea actually until I moved to Texas. I had a lot of people in my circle that were in the industry, and that was a motivation to, being fresh from college. I was trying to find my way in real estate. So I worked for a legal team for a period of time, bringing investors into Texas, particularly in California, for investment purposes, foreign investors from Asia. So that's kind of how I got into it. And then obviously I was in the residential real estate. I'm still licensed here in Austin, and I have been with a firm since I, started my career. So no, did I know that I was going to end up in real estate? No, I didn't. But obviously, after putting so much time and effort into my career, now it's like I cannot give up, right? We have to continue. And in Tulum, I have built a a portfolio of properties for my clients that I feel confident that when I'm here, I get the most sales when I'm here locally than being there, because it's a vacation spot people go to relax. So most of my clients that come from here are making a business trip, so they don't get sidetracked with all the beautiful spaces and places to go see and party.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's neat because all of the places you've lived, they have so many different things to do, whether it's the Yucatan or California, or even here in Texas. All three locations have so many things to offer.
Yes, absolutely. Particularly the Yucatan, because we have cenotes, the beach, the Mayan ruins. I mean, I can just go on and on and on. Like a whole week is not enough time to really explore what the area has to offer.
Sure, no, absolutely. I would imagine there definitely is a lot to do and see. And I'm curious as well, is that you mentioned how California was the first place that you went, coming from Mexico. And there are a lot of Californians that are moving here to Texas. Could you maybe elaborate more on the differences, maybe in terms of lifestyle, between California and Texas that you experience?
Yeah, the weather, of course. I mean, people are always going to prefer the California weather, but it's obvious by now that the taxation the tax brackets there for business owners and, you know, homeowners and all of that are completely different compared to here. That I think we are catching up, because I feel like Austin was undervalued. Now it's getting competitive with other markets like California. But I mean, yeah, again, I lived in San Diego and I did part of my school in the San Francisco area in Berkeley. So yeah, the weather, it's completely different. The lifestyle, I would say Austin offers that, you know, healthy, you know, really a lot of nightlife and stuff. So there's a lot of particular things that can feel like home, but yet the weather is the one different thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you have one dry climate and then maybe one more humid. So I would assume that maybe Texas is just as humid as the Yucatan, or.
Well, this is what I also sell a lot to Texans, because it's an easy flight from Austin or Dallas to Cancun airport, right? And Texans, like, for example, the summer season, it's for us considered shoulder season, at least before the pandemic. Now it's still high season. But regularly it will be our shoulders low season during the summer. And when you travel during the summer to these particular areas, you're not going to see Canadians anymore. They come in the winter, but you will see Texans because they're the only ones that can handle the heat, you know? So that's one of the main reasons. Also, a 2-hour flight, you're already in Cancun, versus California is going to be 4 hours. So yeah, I hope I'm answering your question correctly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is one thing that's nice about Mexico. You know, if you're looking to have a nice getaway, a vacation, or, you know, just some time to relax, it's just a short flight away.
Yes, very convenient. And by 2023, we're going to have an airport in Tulum. I'm not sure about the commercial flights, but I know for sure we're going to have an airport for luxury private charters, to continue, you know, bringing that upscale type of tourism to the area. That basically how Tulum got started.
Sure, absolutely. You know, I know that you mentioned how there's so many different things to see in the Yucatan, you know, that 1 week isn't enough. There's so many different locations, you know, around the world. I mean, there's, you know, the Dominican Republic, there's Barbados, there's all these different places in the Caribbean. And then, you know, there's, you know, obviously close by in the Yucatan is Tulum. You know, what is special about Tulum?
Well, besides having easy access, I feel like we have way more to offer, even if you don't go to the Caribbean. Let's just compare it with Cabo, even though it's completely different locations, right? First of all, like I said earlier, we have the Mayan temples. We don't only have one, we have several within, you know, a couple hours distance, an hour distance, 40-minute distance. So just if you are history aficionado, if you appreciate culture, then you have a lot of options there. If you're a scuba diver, we have the best diving. I mean, whether it's a cenote or Cozumel or certain like coral reefs that we have like the best divers coming to the area just for that. We have great cuisine. I mean, of course, you know, like Mexico, we have amazing Mexican cuisine all over Tulum. We have some of the best restaurants in the whole peninsula in Mexico. We have chefs from New York City that open restaurants in Tulum. So that makes it really unique right there. What else? We have colonial cities all around. And what makes it special is also the way it was built. So before Tulum was mainstream, it was only for like really high-end type of tourism. I mean, like Leonardo DiCaprio, the CEO of Google, they used to bring their private yacht and rent a whole like beach cabana with no power in it. I mean, they were like paying thousands of dollars per night just to have that experience, to be off the grid with no paparazzi and all of that. So that's how Tulum got started. Another thing that makes us really different than anywhere else is that there are no multifamily projects oceanfront, and also no big resorts. So this is not going to be your westernized, typical, all-inclusive, which there's nothing wrong with that. We have that in Playa, we have that in Cancun, right? But Tulum, because it's such a protected area, because of it's a national treasure for nature and the ecosystem there, that there are no permits for the oceanfront project. So keeping everything more boutique style. So you have the beach hotels that are like, I don't know, $1,000 a night, but it's not a big resort, it's a small resort.
Sure, absolutely. And that can really be so important, to preserve that culture, especially because it's such, you said it's such a unique gem, not only to that part of the country, but to all of Mexico as well.
Yeah, and also the way it's growing, like the closest subdivision or residential area to the beach, it was projected to be completed in 10, 15 years. It got completed in 5 years, sold. And now other areas are coming up, and that's that what we are promoting.
Sure, absolutely. And you kind of led into it there in terms of what you're promoting. I know you mentioned how, you deal with a lot of people, from the state of Texas that would go down to Tulum. Are you mostly dealing with people who are looking, for a short-term stay or looking to purchase property there, or what's kind of the idea here?
So my business is based on sales mostly, and through referrals and doing favors to other clients, we have an array of high-end properties that we do vacation rentals, but they're going to be above $1,000 a night, most likely $2,000 a night for a minimum of 4 days. But I should say that's not my forte. If it's not a luxury villa oceanfront, I'm probably not helpful for rentals. I'm mostly into the development side, sales. That's my primary focus, and that what I have been, selling the past years. Most of my clients are there for the rental income. So the phone calls that I've been having every day now from investors here in Austin is like, okay, Austin is saturated. We have some money. We want to park our money somewhere that we can get a return of our investment and get some equity, and that is within 200,000 and under, or oceanfront for 500, 700. So it really depends, where they want to buy. But I am getting those phone calls more often now because Austin is getting so expensive. Yeah,
sure, absolutely. And it definitely makes a lot of sense if you're looking to diversify your portfolio, or you even just said how it's getting more saturated. If there's a beautiful location and it's a little bit cheaper, it makes sense, right?
yeah. I mean, basically, who doesn't want a vacation home that pays for itself with the income that you're producing, right? So the condos are built with that purpose. The developers know about this. So we're getting so much attention, and with the airport coming up, I mean, your property will be rented.
Sure. I mean, you even just said it there, you said the airport's not going to come in for, until 2023. So between now and then, that seems like that would be a good opportunity.
Well, just think about this. Right now, the airport from Tulum, it's a couple-hour drive, and we're packed. Yeah. I mean, we're packed for the summer. We're packed for the winter. We have been packed through the whole pandemic. It has been 80 to 100% occupancy. So it hasn't stopped. It has been kind of like Austin, kind of like more relaxed with the whole pandemic. So it has been profitable for everyone that invested, 2 or 3 years ago, and whoever is buying now pre-sale or getting an opportunity, they're able to recover their investment as well quite fast with the rental income, because we're full. That's why other areas around Tulum are also becoming really popular for investors, because they're like, okay, what's the next Tulum? Truth is, there's no next Tulum. We only have one Tulum, and it's getting overpopulated. There's still a lot of good opportunities. In fact, wherever you look in Tulum, it's construction. We have construction everywhere, on the jungle side, on a couple secluded beach areas that are more exclusive. So yeah, once we have the airport, it's gonna be, what it was Cancun back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, no, it is so interesting because I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of growth there, but at the same time, you even just said there's only one Tulum, right? You can try to speculate, but there's only one Tulum.
There's only one Tulum. There's only one Tulum. I mean, being from that area and having, I've been coming to Tulum for many, many years, before it became popular, right? And I have seen at firsthand the growth. And I never thought it would become what it is today. The art, everything is just so unique. I have traveled all over the world. I mean, I've been to Greece, Bali, and I'm not saying this to show off. I'm just saying that I have the experience to see other places, and Tulum is just unique. There's not another Tulum in the world.
Yeah, and I'm curious as well. I have to ask about food, right? Because everyone loves Mexican food. In terms of the Yucatan, how is the food different in the Yucatan from maybe other parts of Mexico?
Oh, completely different. So, I mean, if we will go back in history, we have a big, we have the traditional Mayan cuisine, and then we have, the Spanish cuisine. So I would say that the traditional local Yucatecan food is more influenced by the Spanish culture. And then we have the Mayan style, like tamales, that are completely different to what we know here, in Austin, for example, like Tex-Mex is completely different. A lot of seafood, of course, ceviche, having all that source right there from the ocean. Of course, a lot of seafood and this specific dishes. I mean, I would say it's completely different than any place. You know how Texas feels, like the south of the country here in the US feels different than, you guys have different accents, right? Different styles for everything. The same thing in the south of Mexico. We are completely different than Monterrey or Mexico City. From food, I wish I had more, a better comparison pitch here, but all I can tell you that it's delicious and it's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine maybe the lifestyle is a bit more laid back, maybe compared to Mexico City or a larger city like that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, from the potholes to the restaurant, and, I mean, yeah, it's laid back, yet it has become very eventful and lively. We have EDM. Every year we have music festivals now that are a huge, huge, huge attraction. It lasts about 1 month. We have the best DJs all over the world coming. It's like a jungle Coachella. Okay, so just like you guys have festivals here, we have that there. But Tulum is so small compared to Austin that when you have hundreds of people coming through just to go to the festival, it's just incredible to see happening.
Sure, absolutely. I would imagine that's a bit different from when you were growing up. And I'm curious as well, when you were growing up, I'm assuming it was much smaller. What was it like back then compared to now?
Way different. Just to give you an example, a 10-unit hotel in Tulum, oceanfront right now, just the land, it will cost you, and there's not really much available, but just the land on the hotel strip, right, on the main action, you're not going to find anything for less than $5 million just for the land. And a hotel that is producing income, it would, they're like valued in the like $10 million range, 50 million, 70 million. And the owners who initially bought the land many years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, they were able to get it for around $60,000. It was just a small fishing village. And yeah, from $60,000 to 16 million, there's a huge, huge difference when it comes to real estate. And the vibe, of course, is not it's still quaint, but it's not so quiet anymore. It's definitely, we have traffic, we have supermodels coming through and parties and DJs. I mean, the vibe definitely has changed, but I think it's growing gracefully. I think it still has that bohemian style that it really started there. It's very unique to Tulum. So it still has the Tulum flavor, yet with more of a party type of beach town.
Right, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'm curious as well. Maybe someone is here in the Austin area, another part of Texas, and and they're kind of interested in maybe international property, but where should they start?
They should definitely start with the funds, right? Like anywhere else, because the investment is secure. You're gonna have your title guarantee. No one can take it away from you. Not the government, not the police, not anyone. It's yours. There's a couple ways to get that done, and finding the perfect property with good location is or expertise. So that part is also, from my perspective, very easy. I think the only hoops that you need to jump and figure out before you even consider going and shopping for property is making sure that you have the funds. Most people ask me, okay, what about financing? It's definitely not going to be your regular 30-year mortgage. You can acquire for the loan here through cash refinance or HELOC with the bank, or with a hard money loan with a private lender. So those are the two ways that my clients have successfully acquired a loan to buy, in Mexico. But that's the one thing that I think buyers should consider before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One concern that I would imagine that people have is more so, investing in a foreign country where, maybe the culture is different, the customs are different, business is conducted differently, a different legal system. Is it best to consult some sort of CPA or attorney beforehand, or how would you handle that?
Sure. In fact, in Mexico, for any transaction, even if you don't directly contact an attorney, your agent is gonna give you a referral, right? To go, because by law, the attorney has to create a legal entity for any foreigner, whether you're Italian, American, Canadian. You need to set up a legal entity like an LLC. Or a trust fund with the bank. So that's the only way a foreigner can acquire property. And that has to be done by an attorney. It's not expensive. It's a couple $1,000s. And yeah, that's the only way to do it. So an attorney has to be involved. We created like a one-stop shop. However, we focus in sales. It's like an added service for us. But if our clients want to go elsewhere and shop around and hire another attorney, that's totally okay. But answering your question, that's one step that it's a must. You cannot do it without an attorney.
Right. I would imagine, right? Because you're, going from one country to the next, and there's probably a lot of things to take care of beforehand.
Yeah, basically what they're doing, here you have the title company, right? And they look up the chain of title and making sure that there's no liens on the property and all of that. So that's basically what the attorney is doing. Once you set up this LLC to acquire the property, it comes with that service that they're checking that everything is. If they find something, then you cannot close, right? Unless you negotiate with the seller. But the bottom line is that that's how it's done. And that's the only way I would suggest anyone to do it anywhere in Mexico. I would not do it without an attorney.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I can see how, maybe for someone who is from Texas or another, or just even from the US, see how that can be a bit, intimidating to go to another country and, try to have some sort of transaction.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where we come in, right? To make sure that our clients feel comfortable in every step of the transaction, that myself or anyone on my team is there to explain in detail, to get on the phone, how the process works. And most of my clients are super, like, after they do one transaction, they become experts. Once they do one transaction and they see how it's done in Tulum or Playa and all these beautiful areas that we work in, they are the ones already explaining the whole process to their friends. So because it is different and they're very cautious, and we are super happy to share all of our knowledge with our clients. So in fact, I have created a website that has all the frequently asked questions that, any of my leads and friends can go in and click on and see, okay, this is how it works. And at the end, we have just information of facts, how it works, how it's done. And we are in the business to making our clients feel comfortable and secure with their purchase. So clarity, it's like the biggest moneymaker for us.
Right. No, absolutely. And, I'm curious as well, you also mentioned how Austin is a bit saturated. People are wanting to put their money somewhere else. Do you also offer maybe a projected, monthly income that they could receive, and when it's a vacation rental or something like that?
Yeah, we have full-on spreadsheets for each project that shows, the income versus the expenses, the management, the taxation, so they can have, a visual of like 12 months of the year, or how much each month it's going to be producing. Because this is another question I get on the phone all the time with my prospects, and it's like, oh, how much is your rent per day, per night? And I'm like, well, you cannot really view it like that, because we are factoring in yearly returns, not daily returns, right? So it fluctuates through the year. Maybe in January, your 2-bedroom unit is going to be making $600. And maybe during, I don't know, shoulder season, it's going to make $150. So it's really about the numbers that come through the end of the year. But they have been pretty steady, and it seems like a trend is going to continue for our rental income. So yeah, answering your question, we have the developers have done an amazing job creating all of this. And by the way, these projections are coming from real numbers. So we use data from properties that are already renting in the area.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that's, that's something important to take into account. It's not just a nightly thing. You're looking at the entire year, especially because maybe you have more Canadians coming in a particular time of year, and then you have Texans coming another time, right?
Yeah, the music festivals and so on. And yeah, what I'm looking in Austin, to get, in the rental game, it's getting harder and harder because the price range is just increasing. And by the time you're done with acquiring the property, your taxation, it's going to take a while for investors to get their money back on their investment. So I feel like places like Tulum, Playa, Cancun give investors an opportunity to have a place that they love, maybe once a year. I don't know how flexible people are with their time, and the remaining time just for the property to be producing income. Well, I can tell you that I have clients that live here in downtown Austin, and they haven't stayed at their property because it's rented all the time. And they end up renting hotels when they go on vacation. And they're okay with that, of course, because, they're renting their property, they're making money. So there's no issue with that. But just to give you an example of like everyone that has, I feel like if people are on the fence, this is the time to do it.
Right. No, absolutely. And, that is kind of funny that, they own the property, but yet they stay in a hotel, right?
Yeah. Well, if you have someone paying you top dollar to stay, we're seeing a huge trend since the pandemic started. We used to get like the weekends, right? Thursday through Monday. That was like the trend. But since the pandemic started, we have those, people who work from the computer, and they're staying for a 3-month, 4-month, 5-month, a whole year. So, they're paying right now long-term rentals in Tulum. The trend that is going today, you can find in a nice area a 2-bedroom. This is not oceanfront, on the jungle site, for $2,500 to $3,000. 3-bedroom for like $4,000. So it's pretty competitive. And nightly rentals, like I say, go anywhere from $150 to $500, depending on what you're renting. And if it's oceanfront villa, oh my God, you can find properties for $1,500, $1,000, no less than that.
Yeah, no, it's so funny, Cindy. I was about to ask you that, just about, it kind of seems like, you know, technology and computers and working remotely, if anything, that would revolutionize the way that we view both short and long-term rentals.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You're always gonna have that, and I mean, Tulum is so pretty, and anyone that is in that, you know, want to have that experience. We have this floating community that comes and stay for a period of time, and that's also great. And I feel it gives the flexibility to the owners, you know, to be like, okay, maybe I just book it for a whole year, and I don't have to, you know, be paying high maintenance fees compared to, you know, short term.
Yeah.
That is always higher because you have to treat the property like a hotel. So it really depends on what, you know, what's vibing and the best interest of the client. But there are options, and there's a lot of demand. I mean, properties are selling in Tulum at least 80%, 90% pre-construction period. And once it's turnkey, of course, it's going to be higher in price, and it's, you know, it changes everything.
Sure, absolutely. I would definitely imagine. You know, well, Cindy, is there anything that you haven't said that you'd really like to let people know?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, call me. Let me know whenever you guys are interested to learn more about investing in Tulum, Playa, Cancun, all the Mayan Riviera. We have great golf courses with a beach to match. You know, we have the best beaches for those people who haven't visited. It's safe and it's beautiful, and I'm happy to continue to connect with investors here in Austin. I mean, I'm here right now and most of the time, so I am back and forth between Tulum and Austin year out. So for me, I will be super happy to continue the conversation with any investor who is serious and curious and wants to learn more.
Okay, absolutely, Cindy. Maybe someone's here in Austin, or maybe they're in another part of Texas or another part of the country, and they want to meet with you. You know, where can we find you?
Here. Yeah, no. I travel a lot in my lifetime, so right now I'm grounded. You know, I mean, I do still travel, but I like to stay local here in Austin and Tulum. I mean, I go for like social stuff other places, but if I go elsewhere, it's probably like for a wedding or something. Like right now, I'm more grounded, and I have projects in Mexico and here, so I am okay with that.
Okay, understood. Yeah, and we'll make sure to put your contact info in the description of the video. You know, well, Cindy, it's been great having you. You know, I've learned a bit about you, your background, a lot about Tulum, and you know what you do for your investors here in Austin. So it's a real pleasure, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you later.
Bye.